An emergency curfew is now in effect in Baltimore. That curfew from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m. That will last for the next 7 days, according to the mayor and other officials in Baltimore County. We've been watching the events unfold as the curfew went into effect at 10 p.m. Initially, when that curfew went into effect, the hundreds of people that have been there in Baltimore, hundreds of people surrounding the area of the CVS that was looted and burned the previous night began to disperse, but there were still elements of the crowd that stayed behind. During that moment, within the first half hour of that curfew going into effect, we saw some tense moments. We saw rocks and bottles, water bottles and glass being hurled at police officers who showed remarkable restraint in the face of those devices that were being thrown at them, including smoke canisters. We also had an opportunity to speak to our reporter, Kris Van Cleave, on the ground. Here's what we talked about.
Okay, guys, I don't know if you can hear that, but the police helicopter is now telling people to disperse.
So they're telling right now, Kris, we can hear that.
The helicopter is telling the news media to clear the area. I don't think that's going to be terribly successful, but and now the helicopter is saying it is 10 p.m. The curfew is in effect. It is time to go home. So the police are using the helicopter bullhorn to try now to disperse this crowd. I counted a minute ago 3 police helicopters overhead. So clearly this is one of the areas of the city that police are focusing their attention, as there are a lot of air assets.
Kris, I mean, do you think that it would be difficult for the police to distinguish between members of the media, not certainly those that are television crews, but print reporters that may be in the area, interspersed or mixed in with protesters, and that's perhaps why they may be asking members of the media to disperse as well?
Yes, I think, well, the helicopter had said specifically asked the media to get out of the street, and now they are repeating over and over that it is time for people to go home. So, and, Vlad, you're starting to see people head out of the street.
And is Congressman Cummings still there?
Hang on 1 second. Our producers are talking to me here.
Sure.
What's going on, Dave?
Water bottle just thrown up at the police.
All right, so one of our CBS News producers observed somebody throwing a water bottle at police. There goes another object just thrown at police. So this could get real interesting here, Vlad. I've seen a couple of objects thrown at police. The police have shields in place. Their helmets are on. We're seeing members of the media now gearing up in gas masks and helmets. There goes another water bottle at police. So let's just stay with this for a minute and see what happens.
Kris, are there people that are trying to prevent? We saw earlier in your live shot, we saw people that were holding hands, interlocked arms, in an effort to prevent any kind of sort of violence that we saw last night. Most of those people have gone.
Yes, I think those people have largely gone, Vlad. We've seen now a handful of items thrown at police. So far, the police have not moved. Excuse me? Yes, we're live on TV right now. Can I ask you why you're out after curfew?
Yes, because there's be no justice until we get peace.
So how late are you going to stay out here tonight?
All night, all day.
Right, Vlad. So let's.
We're not sheep, is the point. Not all of us were out there doing that. Not all of us are young. Not all of us are misguided. It only takes a day to tell the truth. It takes 3 weeks to concoct a story. We have minds.
What you out here for?
So I'm out here because I'm not a sheep. You can't tell me when to go in. I'm 31 years old.
Right. So you stand.
What happened? And I don't even live in Baltimore. What happened? I'm standing for justice.
Well, that's interesting, Kris.
Vlad,
that woman doesn't even live in Baltimore.
Yes, that's what she said. All right, police are moving, guys, and now we've got bottles being thrown at police. Officers are moving forward. They're advancing on the crowd. So, Vlad, now the crowd is starting to move back for the most part, and there is kind of a, ma'am, can I get you to step out of the way here? We are continuing to hear announcements from police telling people to go home. The officers have moved up basically, 15 feet or so, and that has pushed the crowd back. Water bottles continue to be thrown. Now, earlier when we saw water bottles get thrown, Vlad, that was the only time we've seen the police take a real offensive move, and they began to shoot some pepper spray at people. Water bottles still being thrown. The officers are using their shields to knock them down. I don't know, I've counted about 10 to 15 water bottles thrown at police.
And Kris,
The
behind that
helicopter
line
is continuing to...
Behind that line of police officers, Kris, you say that there are armored personnel carriers behind those officers as well, along with their vehicles.
Yes, there are 2 armored personnel carriers back there that I can see at this point, and a police bus. And then we know that there are many officers back there as well. There's the first line, and then behind them is a second line of officers. So there can be there's probably 50 police officers, if not more, there. And overhead, the helicopter is continuing to make that announcement to head home.